been done.
也是一个什么的。
Secondly, test.
That's unmuted. Amin. Iwe light iwe ndandapara ranga rakuramba kudzima nekuba handi pachabviswa chipendi uchabvisa chipendi kana paright pakada ndinonge chakashata zvakadaro. Unoona sei ndinonga redesign but manaka sha Did I do anything? Benar. Ora dengan bonus. Nitamira tu anawanja.
Hi, Michelle. Your mic is on. If you can switch it off.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Thank you very much. Welcome to our training on the procuring entities. Now, this is a continuous process, like we've always said, to say we would want to continue capacitating you and also getting some feedback on areas where you may be having issues, so that we can actually help each other to work easily and seamlessly on the EGP system. On today's training, we are going to start with some remarks from Mr. Fred Ndlovu, who is our Director ICT. Then after that, we will have a script on templates. We have just noticed with sadness how most of our tenders are failing on the templates. So this training is mainly going to focus more on how we can get our templates right. Is that clear? So we are going to have a training script run by one of our guys, Vishal, on the templates. Then after that, we'll then have Kundai taking us through a demo, again emphasizing on how we can get our templates right. We are also going to be emphasizing on the areas that we have noted where most of our tenders are failing on the templates. So without much ado, I'll ask Mr. Fred Ndlovu to just give his remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Jombe, and thank you all for coming, and welcome to this this conversation. And I think what I'm just going to share with you is just that we are working on the next phases of the project. But as you know, that what we went live with is actually phase 1.1, which phase 1.1 has got your annual procurement plan all the way up to tender opening. So keep watching the space. I think very soon we'll start testing the phase 1.2, where you have the e-award, e-evaluation, and contract management. And soon after that, we then have phase 1.3 and until we get to the phase 2. So that's work in progress, and it's important, and I want to emphasize that it's important to actually get feedback from you as you interact with the system, because the system is our system and we can only improve it if we actually provide the feedback. But talking about today's session, I think like Mr. Jombe highlighted, this is coming at a time where we are having some entities that are actually having challenges in terms of creation of templates. And I'll say, for example, we have seen that some templates or some PEs would actually put a template where they don't even allow the a supplier to actually be able to fill in. Remember what you went through, where when you actually do the template, you then define which fields are supposed to be completed by the bidder and which ones are actually supposed to be completed by yourselves. even in terms of uploading of documents. If you have a document that you want a supplier to upload, you would need to define it in the system so that the supplier can then be able to upload. Those are some of the examples, even where you want to define that to make sure that if you have got a field that you want it to be mandatory and it should be completed by or filled in by the supplier, you need to tell the system that. And I think there are some challenges that are being experienced by some users in terms of defining that, hence this training. And with that, I would actually want to wish you all a good conversation and deliberations as you listen to the presenters. And this time we actually then thought perhaps we should actually also have the developers of the system as part of this conversation so that they can further clarify on the expectations. So from me, so all the best, happy listening and appreciating the templates so that you can improve on in that area if you're having challenges on that. For those who are already good at it, it's just a refresher, and to also get to see what other tips that you can put in your kit as you do these tenders on the EGP system. Thank you very much, and good day to you all.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. for the opening remarks. So we are now moving on to the training script on the templates to be presented by Vishal. So I will share my screen. Just confirm you can see my screen.
See, but perhaps others can confirm.
Yeah, I'm seeing it.
Thank
Confirmed.
you.
Yes, we are seeing.
Confirmed.
Okay, excellent. So my name is Vishal. I'm the project manager for the EGP from the consultant side, and I hope my voice and the speed of the voice is okay. Please, director, please confirm.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, excellent. So let me just go into the straight to the business. Okay. So what we have realized, like PE from the PE side, PE side, we are having the many challenges where there the minor mistakes are going. So as an outcome, like we come up with this document. So this document, when you refer, it will guide you different types of the envelopes as well as the different types of templates that are available in the system, and it will also give you the more brief information about how you can configure what are the differences between the various the templates and everything. The important thing we have to also consider here, while the presentation will go on, I will accept the questions end of the presentation. Okay, one by one, if there will be any. So allow me further to go further into the different types of envelopes. So whenever you are creating a tender, okay, from the procuring entity side, this I understand all the participants are from the procuring entities here, not from the supplier. So this is more of the buyer training, okay, the PE training. Okay, so here whenever you're creating the tender, okay, you will see the 3 section where you are expecting the bidder. You are expecting as a PE to configure the template. Okay, so why we are configure the templates? That's the very important questions that we are having every time. So, when we configure the template, okay, we are basically either we want to provide information to the bidder, okay, to the supplier for behalf of that tender, or we are intend the supplier to fill certain templates. okay, or to provide us certain information. It's just the like if at high level, if you see, it is the exchanging of the information within the PEs and the supplier. Okay, and it is very essential while publishing a tender. Okay, all the template has to be configured as per the expectation of the system. Okay, but it's quite easier. So in the normal tendering, like if you may have observed, like what you are doing, we are creating a tender document, and then we are just listing.
Deferred to the executive speaker too.
Sorry.
Colleagues, may we please mute our mics? Elena.
Okay. Yeah. So like each template, like whatever you are configuring, okay, for the supplier or just to provide the information to the supplier, or you are intend that supplier responds back with certain information to you behalf of that tender, right? So it's very essential you configure into the certain the format. Okay. And not only that, you also need to ensure like you put those template under the specific envelopes. Basically, you are preparing a structure of the bid response here, right? Because you are already publishing the tender information as a part of the tender document. But here, if you see in the first section, we have put like, you are actually configuring the structure of the bids. Okay. So it is going to be difficult. It's going to be very important. You configure as per the rules and the regulations that we are expecting you to do. Okay. So here, like if you see here, we are having the three different blue section. Okay, we have highlighted here in the blue color the eligibility criteria, technical bid form, and the financial bid form, right? So these three sections is always gonna be there. Now, what we are expecting from the EGP system, or what the EGP system is expecting you to do. Okay, so whenever you want to say an example, do certain templates, like you want the supplier to respond you back with the the eligibility criteria of the compliance, right? You put those templates under this section, under the eligibility criteria section. Okay, if you want, say an example, you want to supplier to provide you the technical information for certain tender, maybe works and like the services, you can configure under this section, technical bid form. Okay, and the very important thing, the financial bid form. Okay, where you are expecting supplier to put give you the financial information. Okay, then you put those templates here under this financial bid forms. Now, very important things like why we have divided into the three sections. So depends on the method of the procurement. Sometimes the method of procurement may be the QCBS or the quality-based selection or the single envelope or the double envelope. System will automatically choose based on the method of the procurement and the envelope methods that we are configuring. Okay, so if you are putting those templates here, technical under the technical, eligibility under the eligibility, and the compliance and financial under the financial. So when you open the tender, if it is, let's say an example, it is the two-stage opening, right? You first open the technical, you evaluate, and then you open the financial, right? So we have to understand here, like it will open when you set those templates underneath that envelope. It will automatically set those open automatically those template at the time of the opening underneath that envelopes. Okay, so while coming to the this section, like majorly all of these sections are working as a kind of envelopes in the manual form. Okay, but we are redirecting each and every template to be open or put under the envelope here. Okay, into the system. We are configuring the system like that. Okay, any questions like before I go further, because it's very essential, like to understand the concept of this eligibility criteria, technical bid form, the financial
Okay.
bit form. Before I go further for the, the types of templates. You can raise the hand and then we can take it one by one.
Good morning.
Go ahead. Melody.
Is this training for those who upload the tenders, or it's for the suppliers who do the quotations?
Okay, so this is
Because
meant for the procuring entity, not for the suppliers. Supplier training is at the 2 o'clock today, right? Yeah, so you can join at the 2 o'clock if we are from the supplier community.
Okay, because we can't see what you have on the screen, so maybe we have joined the wrong meeting. Thank you.
Supply ilikuwa na 2 o'clock. Abatiro seta seta abatiro one visa.
Any other? You can configure.
Screen I see.
Link we will. Yeah. So like, in any training, if if there are no questions, so there is only 2 possibilities. The first possibility is that they understood everything, or the another possibility is which is not good one. They don't understand everything, anything. Okay, so please confirm if I can move ahead, because if you don't understand the structure of the envelope within the EGP and why we are putting template under this section, then it's going to be difficult. And the same mistake it will be keep repeating.
Item, sorry, could you just confirm that we are together and we have understood those three templates?
Yes, 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 yes.
Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah,
excellent.
we are together.
Thank
It's just
you.
that we had also asked if we would then get a recording or maybe information shared or emails. That's the question I wanted. Thank you.
Okay. Recordings, we are recording the session and we will share the link to the recording.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Okay. Thank you for the confirmation. Now, the envelope you might have seen here, we are having the 3, looks like the same, all this, upload template, data type template, and the master template, right? Same here, upload template, data type template, and the master templates. Same under the financial, upload template, data type template, the master template. Okay. So each envelope it has this 3 different types of templates, right? It means, let me just give you the brief. Now, what is the upload type of template? Okay, so when we say the upload type of template, meaning you are uploading those information as a PE, as a document. Document are acceptable into the PDF, DOCX, as well as the XLSS. And sometimes in certain cases, it will also accept the JPEG extension as well. Okay, now if you see at high level, the upload type templates, okay, it is either you want to provide the information to the supplier, that means you as a buyer, tender preparer will require to upload certain document, which will be visible to the supplier, but they won't be responsive back. Okay, now another type of template, upload type templates, is where you are expecting supplier to respond it back with certain file upload. Maybe supplier can allow to upload certain types of files. Okay, maybe the PDF file or so. Okay, so how you can configure those, or how you can keep those kind of settings under your the tender, that you are expecting supplier to provide certain information as a file upload. Say an example, the signature is of or the directors and the shareholders, right? Okay, as an example, if you just want to provide the terms and conditions to the supplier just for a reference, right? So how you can do that? Because both the has a different meaning, right? If you are providing the information to the supplier, that means you as a PE it is important to upload those documents so that supplier can see those information. Maybe some graphs and the chart of the site visits, of some photographs of the site and all those things. You can always publish it, but it is just for the information to the supplier. Like, this is the site. An example, you are providing information to the supplier. Okay. So to configure those types of uploads of template, okay. Okay, so this is a detail of the upload of template. Okay, so you can select here, okay, any of this form, and then you select the buyer. Okay, you are selecting the buyer here, meaning when you do that things, it will allow you to upload that document. Okay, coming to the other side, okay, where you are expecting supplier to provide you certain information under that envelope, you can select the supplier and then you select the action. So system will enforce the supplier to upload those document and provide those document as a part of that envelope. Okay, all the upload types of document can be part of the any of this envelope. Okay, you can configure it here as a technical bit where you are expecting some technical information from the supplier. If you are expecting some compliance related, experience certificate or something compliance related information, you can always provide the upload type template, the supplier as well. Okay, same applies to the financial as well. You want, let's say an example, financial breakdown. Okay, you can ask supplier to provide the financial background as a part of the file upload. Okay. Are we clear up to this stage? Upload type templates where you are asking supplier to provide you certain information, or you as a buyer, you are providing certain information to the supplier. But this will be exchanging of information in terms of the PDF document and the XLS or JPG. Any questions here in the upload type questions? Okay, good.
We mute our mics, please.
Okay, so next I'm going to the data type template. Well, there is no question. Now, what is the data type template? So data type template is allow you as a PE to configure the pro forma or the fields for the supplier to fill in terms of the more or less like an Excel structure. With this field feature, we called it the next sheet. Okay, so here it is Excel kind of the interface. You can allow to do the copy paste here. Okay, but there is some differences here. Okay, so basically, if you see in the previous templates, okay, upload type template, what we were doing, we are either providing the supplier to provide certain information to us, or we as a PE are providing some information to the supplier. It is a one-way direction. Now this data type template, okay, what is the beauty of this one? Where you are filling certain information, you are preparing a structure of the form, okay, as a buyer user, and at the same time, the same form, it will be part of the supplier bid, and supplier can be also going to provide certain information into the same Excel sheet. Okay, so basically you are preparing a pro forma for the supplier. I need a bid in this format. Okay, but restricted to the certain information. Okay, so that's why this next sheet is very important to understand. Okay, now there are certain configuration that you have to make it as a part of the tender. What are those? Okay, by default, same example, certain information you can't allow the supplier to modify. Correct? Say an example, if my requirement for the certain item is the 100 quantity, that means supplier should not allow to modify those 100 quantities, because my requirement as a PE is to need a pricing for the 100 quantity, right? That means we have to freeze those requirement, freeze those column that, suppliers should not get an accessibility of those columns. But yes, it is also we have to understand, we are expecting certain information from the supplier. Say an example, the pricing information or the description of the items that they are proposing or the configuration of the items that are proposing and they are putting the price for. Okay. So here, this structure or this form, it is actually certain part is done by the Ps and the certain part and the information is provided by the supplier into the next sheet. Okay, so there are some configuration you are allowed to do according to the column wise. Okay. So when you click on this small item icon here, okay, this arrow, it will open you this menu. Okay. So once you put those information here, where you are putting the the pricing detail, description, lot description, and the quantity. Now you as a P, you want to mark this is not be editable by the supplier, right? In that case, what you can do, you select the column and then you click is read only. Okay. Same applies to the C1 column or C2 column. We are also providing the details of the lots, which is not editable by the supplier. So we are freezing them. So to mark for the supplier to the read only. Okay, we just need to click here, select the read only, right? That means while preparing a bid as a supplier won't allow to modify any of the column from the C0 up to the C5. This example. Are we together? Okay. But there are certain information that you want supplier to fill in. Okay. So for those one, we are not marking them as a read only. So the read only meaning whatever the information that supplier, you don't want supplier to modify it. Okay. In your structure, provide a structure or the prepared structure. Okay. You can mark those column as a read only. Okay, but what we have done, I'll just give you some. I would like to share some experience as well since last few months, right? As a PE, many of the PEs are doing a mistake. They are marking all the next sheet is a read only. That means suppliers are not allowed to put their prices. So please, you are not supposed to do all the column as a read only. We are only doing those columns as a read only, which we don't want the supplier to modify. Okay. So said example, the unit price and those columns, we are not expecting you to mark as a read only. Okay. So there are certain other columns as well. Everything is available here, in the well format. But while I'm explaining to you, read only I have considered here. I'm going for the apply encryption and followed by the numeric format. Okay. So what is the apply encryption and what is the numeric format? Now, system inbuilt is having the security feature. Okay, the security feature is only working when you are setting up certain information here. Okay, say an example. What is the security here? Security here, whatever the supplier is filling the information, we don't want system to understand. We want we want system to understand. I'm getting some background noise.
I think everyone, please.
Okay. So, when we want all the information or the important information of the tender to be marked as encrypted, meaning those information, it will be transferred into non-human readable format. Okay, that means it will be converted into the tax, which as a human being, we can't understand those tax after seeing it. Okay. So the encryption is, we are not storing the data into the system as it is. We are storing the encrypted information. Say an example, all the pricing details, right? By default, you have to make sure you are applying the encryption on the pricing details. Okay. And another very important validation we have to understand. What is that? All the pricing information generally is, agree, the pricing information are not into the text format. It's not in the ABCD. So those kind of information, like, unit price and, available quantity, make sure you are also putting the numeric format validation. Okay. So you can do the numeric format validation here, or as well as you have to pay for the encryption, so that it will automatically convert to the, the non-human readable format when the supplier prepare the bid and submit it. Okay. Now, I would like to go through some other section as well. Where you can, this is an example of the numeric form encryption. This document we are going to share with the team, right? After this training, yeah. And then you can also apply the numeric format here. And after that, I'm going to be very important, here is for apply formula. Okay, now what is the formula? So here, the EGP itself has the facility where you can configure those to apply the formula. Okay, so those formula are more or less working as simple as like Excel, where you can do the multiplication, you can do the summation, you can do the division and everything, right? For a complex work standard, those are very important things, right? So to apply a formula, what you have to do, supposed to do? So you just click on the, apply formula here, and then this screen will open where you can put the expected output. Okay, so then you have supposed to click this one. So say an example, if you want to from this example, if you want to calculate the total rate, just a second. Can mute it, I think. Are you okay? So an example, in our case, the system will do the automatic calculation that you want to implement here in this Excel-like format. Okay, what you generally do? You multiply the quantity multiplied by the provided unit of the price, and you are expecting it to come into the total rate. Right? In the Excel-like format, what you should do? You put the formula in here into the C cell 7 column, right? Where you are doing the multiplication by the C4 by the C6, right? And automatically it come here into the C7, right? So here we are doing the same thing. So say an example, if I want the total price to be put here, I will click here and in this icon, and then click on the apply formula. After putting the numeric, and then you are just putting the formula. That formula is the C4 multiply by the C5. And then you click on the apply. Please understand, such the formula, we are only allowing the numeric format. So it is very essential you put a numeric validation first and then followed by the formula. And generally, whenever you are putting the formulas, make sure you are marking those columns as a read only. So it will come as automatic, and after formulas automatically calculated value, it won't be it won't allow the supplier to modify it back. So for this kind of templates, okay, supplier just putting the unit price for each BOQ item here, right? And the system will generate a BOQ for the supplier. So no need to, each supplier to calculate and multiply one by one. each line item and put it and provide you as part of the tender document, sorry, bid submission, but its system will do all those calculation automatically. Okay, so this is a very time saving concept for the supplier as well, because they just need to put the pricing here. But this training is mainly meant for the Ps, and we are the one who is defining, like, how we are going to calculate the total price and everything, right? So we have to configure the template in this manner, where you are putting all the formulas well in advance in the proper structure, and then you are going to make easier for the supplier to bid submission. Okay. Now coming to the another part of the training, where sometimes you also required the total sum of this provided rate, right? So you can always apply the currency here. Okay, so it will automatically, there is a column summation. You can always apply that, and if you want to also apply the format of the currency, you are allowed to do so. Okay. So basically, we are making by configuring the template right way. There is an example. Can you see it here? And multiplied the 100, the system has automatically calculated the 1,000 for the bidder. Okay, and also it give you the total currency feature here, and it's also give you the into the word information. Okay, so whenever you are doing these things, template configuration, make sure only keep those columns as a editable for the supplier, which they are expecting to modify. Rest of the things, we are the one who defining the formulas. We are the one who is putting those information for the supplier as a read only, and we are also putting those formulas, and the formulas output it will be try to keep it as a read only. Okay, now it is also important to note, you can have such templates n number of, meaning for the complex work sometimes you need a very detailed pricing, maybe the transportation cost, the other delivery cost, and the other taxation information and everything. You can have the n number of templates like that. So you can consider there is a main price bid template, followed by the the details of the details of the pricing as a part of the other templates. So as a PE, you can ask and prepare the n number of templates here. Okay, which suppliers will enforce to fill it at the time of the bid submission. System will do the rest of the thing. Coming to the master templates, yeah. So master templates. Okay, before I go further for the master template, any questions here for this part? Maybe for the Excel sheet, because majority of the mistakes are happening in this area.
Any questions, colleagues?
Okay, no question. So we have another feature, the master template. Okay, what is the master template? Like we all have the standard bidding documents, right? And there are certain templates that you are expecting as a PE that it should be configured by the PRAZ and provided it to you, so that you can just import it in your tender, right? So going further, what are the master templates? PRAZ will also configure certain templates, okay, as a authority, which will be more near to the the standard bidding documents. So all those templates, not necessary you have to include all of them, into the all tender. You decide which template to include in your tender. You are allowed to just to by clicking at box, you are allowed to load the templates in your tender. Okay. So we also notice in one of the support where some PEs has included all those 10 templates as a part of the one tender document, but this is not like that. You're supposed to think yourself while preparing a tender, and if it is applicable, then you can add it here. Okay, but these templates will be prepared by the PRAZ and make it available for you as a ready-made templates of the master template library. Okay, so master template is just used for the ease of the use. Okay. Okay, I think that's it from the my side. Like, you know, we have the at high level. Let me just conclude it. So we have been through this. You know, in the starting of this presentation, we have been through the envelopes, and each envelopes there will be they are having some types. Okay, template types, which is the upload templates, which allow the PEs to configure templates for the, you know, either to be uploaded by the PE or you are expecting as a bid response. Okay, the data type templates where it is more or less like a Excel-like format where it is mainly used for the financial and the technical information. You can also apply the various validations and the formulas. Very important things to note here. You are only making it read-only for those fields that you don't allow the supplier to modify. Okay, and you are also enforcing some validations there as a part of the data type templates. And the third type template is the master template, which will be later and like, you know, some has already been configured by the PRAZ, and going further it will be more library. Important things to note here: we are not putting all the configured templates as a part of the any tender document. We are the one who will deciding as a PE which will be the suitable template for my tender. Then I will add it. With that closing note and the summary, I would like to hand over maybe to the Jombe.
Thank you very much, Vishal. Thank you very much, Vishal, I think, for trying to demystify, I think, the templates. Maybe at this juncture, can I invite comments from the floor to say anyone who feels maybe certain areas that have been giving you challenges have not been well explained, so that we can actually clarify on those issues.
I think that you just Zimbabwe. John Riga.
Hello, Mr. Jombe.
Please. Yes.
Mr.
Go ahead,
Jombe.
please. Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've just joined the meeting just now, so I've missed a lot of this lecture. How can we download the document, or do you manage to have recorded
This document we are going to share, as well as the video of this training.
Okay,
We'll share the
thank you.
link. Okay.
Oh, all right, thanks.
Welcome. Anybody who feels he still has a question on the templates?
Mr. Job, how are you?
I'm good, in yourself, sir.
I'm good. My question is on the financial templates. When I've created that financial template for the bidders to fill in the prices and all, during the adjudication process, will I be able to download that template? And as you are aware that the adjudication is done outside the system, will I be able to download that template after the bidders have filled in the details of the template?
Okay, just a moment.
Oh, it's Marlon. Mr. I just judged. Is this meeting for tenders or suppliers?
Sorry, sir. This meeting is for procuring entities. The suppliers meeting is in the afternoon from 2 o'clock.
Okay, I get it.
Thank you.
I didn't see. I think go connect now. No, go.
As a part of yeah.
Just to comment on the question that has been asked, we are just checking. We'll respond to you shortly on that or that question before the end of the training? The one for downloading the financial template.
Okay, the other question, Mr. Jombe, is on the eligibility template.
Yes.
Remember, from the presentation that was done, there's a template that the EGP is originated. When I want to, I'm saying on the eligibility template. Are you hearing me, Mr. Jombe?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm talking about on the eligibility template. You see that the system has got its own template that the way we can actually maybe just pick the areas that want the suppliers to attach in terms of the documents required. But when you realize that on the listed items, maybe there are other parameters that you'd want the bidders to attach as confirmation of eligibility. When you want to add, maybe you'd want to add those parameters, and how do you go about it? Or if you are to add it on the other template that you have got access to create, would they be able to see that they are supposed to attach a copy of that document? Because I would want to understand on the template that the EGP created, there's that portion where you click action that will notify the bidder to say they are supposed to attach such kind of a document requested.
So what you can do, like, when you uploaded those, templates, right? Okay, you make sure you are selecting the supplier here in that case. If you want to configure those, like, supplier to provide you certain information, okay, you're supposed to select supplier here. Okay, so in the eligibility criteria, as an example, you click on the upload tab template. Okay, you upload the document and you select as a supplier there.
Okay. Or on that, maybe if you can scroll up on that that page.
Yeah. This one, right?
Yes, that one. You see, you realize that that template is the template that the system has created for us with those listed the parameters, right?
Yes.
Then if I'm to click, let's say all those items I need the supplier to attach, I have to click document type on the supplier, click. Then on the action, I do the same, so that the action that that action that I'm going to do, it is going to notify the supplier that they are supposed to attach those documents. Let's say I've got item number 13, which is also equally important to me, which will confirm eligibility on the side of the supplier. I would need to add that item as item number 13. How do I go about it? If I'm to put it on the other document that I have got access to create, if you go on that same eligibility, there's that portion where you said I'm able to create my own template and put those parameters. My question was, would the supplier be able to be notified to say that they are supposed to attach that document?
Yes, it will. So there, first, the example what we have given is the screen of the master document. But as a PE, you are still allowed to upload your own template. Okay. Yeah. As a part of the master template library, right? So you can create your template there and you can import it here.
Yeah. Yes, Ben, you can go ahead.
Just to clarify the question, you are saying that you want perchance on the list of eligibility document master, there's a document that is missing that you want your suppliers to respond to. That's the first scenario, right? And the second scenario, you want the system to notify bidders that maybe there's this document that needs to be uploaded. Now, the
That's
second
correct.
scenario has got two connotations. The first connotation is, for example, if we are preparing the tender for the first time, there is no need for the system to send the bidder or to notify the bidder, because there are no bidders who have responded to the tender. However, when you are now wanting to add a new document after certain bidders have already responded, you know how it is. You need to form to do an addendum as a follow-up to the new document that you would have added. Not knowing, Vishal, that I think that's where the issue is an entity able to add additional eligibility document after a tender has been published, or we first need to put the tender back to draft, then allow the entity to add a new document, then publish it back. I think that is where what he's asking, that where he needs help.
Yeah,
I don't know if
that's
is it
another
correct?
portion, but the first scenario is, let's say I'm creating the tender before publishing it. Then I realize that on the listed items there, on the listed documents there that the EGP has created for me, I've realized that there's another document that I need. Because remember, these tenders, they are different in terms of their requirements, in terms of their eligibility requirements. I would need to put that document as an extra or over and above those listed by the EGP. How do I go about it, number one? And will my supplier be able to know or be notified when they are responding to my tender, to be notified that that document is required, they're supposed to attach a copy? On the issue that you have raised, secondly, when the tender has been published on the addendum, then that's another issue as well.
Okay, I think the first aspect, just confirm, Vishal, the coordinator has the option to add new document requirements when they go on the template master, if I'm not mistaken. I think Vishal or Kuntai can confirm on that one.
All right, can I come in?
Yes.
Within the system, the coordinator can add any additional documents under the option where you go to menu, then master template or template master. There's an option to add any additional documents that you may require that are unique to your own entity. So this is an exercise that is done by the coordinator.
Are you answered, sir?
Oh, no, that's fine. I will do that in practical. Then if I have a challenge, then I'll come back to the team.
Okay.
Later. But for now, I think we can proceed.
Okay. Maybe when Kundai does the practical, he can also demonstrate that. Mr. Mtomben, your hand is up. Mr. Mtomben, could you go ahead?
But don't forget to answer my question on the financial template, downloading the financial template.
There.
We have taken note of that. We respond.
There is
Shortly.
export to Excel is available. Export to Excel is.
Any other comments before we move on to the next session?
Sorry,
Maybe
I had been given the floor. My phone was on mute. Can I ask my question?
Yes, please go ahead, sir.
Yes, I just wanted to find out. I think you are correct in that you can add other parameters, like what the previous speaker was saying. But if you are adding those parameters, what the bidders can only do is to complete by filling those parameters, but they cannot add any other document. I thought maybe the question might be, how do we, especially when we are creating those other extra parameters, allow the bidders to add documents? I think that is where the challenge is for us. I'll give you an example. For example, we can talk about the payment terms. The buyer might say, what are the payment terms? What are your payment terms? So that the supplier can just fill in, my payment terms are A, B, C, D. But there are times whereby we would actually need those suppliers to put in extra documents, which are actually not available, whether in the eligibility or technical, especially the eligibility and technical stages of the evaluation. That is where our challenge is.
That was my question exactly.
Maybe can you clarify where you mean that they are not in your eligibility and technical?
I'll just give an example. Like for instance, maybe you are doing a technical evaluation. You might require maybe a bidder to bring in maybe other technical information besides what the master template is showing us. So basically what then happens is we would require the bidders to give us that extra information as an attachment, but unfortunately we do not have the ability to create any document that can allow bidders to respond by putting in an attachment. So the attachments, and unfortunately from the system, they are actually written in stone, meaning that you can only attach those documents in the parameters that the system has given us.
All right, if I understood your question correctly, the system has the capability to add documents. So I want you to hold on to your question as I present you, then see where you can add these additional documents.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Kundai.
All right.
I think thank you very much for those questions. We are now moving into the practical session by Kundai. And I think as he presents, let's interject and clarify those issues that we're discussing. Otherwise, thank you very much. I'll hand you over to Kundai. Thank you.
Good morning, colleagues. Please confirm in the chat if you can see my screen.
Yes, we are seeing your screen, Kundai. You can go ahead.
All right. Thank you so much for acknowledging. All right. Today's presentation is mainly centered on templates and their creation within the EGP system. So today we're not going to show the supplements. We're just simply starting at the procurement request level. So here, to get to this particular stage, this means that your procurement plan has been approved within the system, and now you can proceed to buy. But on the overview homepage, I noticed that some say they had not received the link. We click on the egp.praz.org.zw. There is a that comes up that always has information whether we have a training or we don't have a training scheduled. You can then note on this particular page of important announcement. For now, I'll just log in with my account. So here again, we need to select to say we're logging in as a procuring entity. And we are then going to proceed. So these are my credentials for this session. The first page we see within the system is marked pending task, and this particular dashboard indicates any task that you have that is currently pending within the system. So anything that you'll be working on, if it's under draft or it's closed or it's pending approval, it will all show up here where you can quickly access it and then action on it. So to begin today's session, we're going to create a procurement request by going to our menu under procurement requests, where we have to first create the request within the system. So this is assuming that all your offline processes, for those that use SAP and for those that are using the manual way, you have done your offline process, you now have a requisition that is at your desk in PMU. You then come in and action it on the system. So here we're going to go to procurement request. We want to create a request from scratch, so we're going to say create procurement request. And the request number, this one is a unique number depending on the manual process that you have. For continuation of records, this can be the, for those that use an SAP, they have a PRA number, correct? And then for those that are using a manual, there should be some identification number that links your offline document to the online document. So here I'm going to assume I have my offline document that is a unique number, which I'm just going to say this is a continuation. Maybe my number is 1054. And then we're going to say our request was raised today in the system, and also we're going to select the required supplier categories. So under required supplier categories, note you can select as many categories as you want on this particular point so that you don't miss out, because within the system, this has a bearing to the supplier to say if their category is not selected, they will not be able to then participate in this particular procurement. And note, this can only be addressed at procurement request level. So once at tender level, we will not be able to address this particular issue. So if you quickly notice on your approved procurement request, you can try to cancel it and then make sure you add all the required categories on this particular procurement request. So here, my example is going to go to for gifts. So here I'll select gifts and corporate wear. So here we have the project name, where we're going to say supply and delivery of promotional material, right? And then the period of contract you enter as per your contract and when you might expect the contract to end. So for mine, I'll say maybe months, and delivery location, I'm going to say PRAZ head office. And then there's an option which says priority, where there's normal or high. If all circumstances are normal, we proceed with normal. If it's high, this note, this email that will be sent to the one who is going to approve this particular request will be sent with an agent notice, where you then have to state the reason for the high priority. So you have to enter the reason why it's high priority so that the agent note gets to the one who's going to approve our procurement request. They will also be able to follow through. Again, note the system embeds your details as you are proceeding with the process. So here we're going to save and continue. Also, if you have any questions, please type them in the chat. We are also monitoring the chat and we're responding there as well. Then we get to this particular stage where you have to now link your annual procurement plan to the procurement request. Can you confirm that my page is there now? Colleagues online, can you see where it says budget and lot items detail?
Yes, Kundai.
Yes, we can see it.
All right, so to proceed, we're going to select a line from our annual procurement plan. So this again, we say select APP. The system will then load all the items that are on our procurement plan. And we then have to select line. But as we're doing this process, please note that we have items that share the same reference number. These need to be consolidated first. So the items I'm highlighting here, say this is PRAZ RFQ 06-2024. These items would need to be consolidated first into one line for you to be able to use them. However, if you have a line that is not involving any other lines or sharing a reference with any other line, you can proceed to procure using that single line. So here I'm just quickly going to find a line that I am going to use. So for me, this is the particular line that applies to the example that we are demonstrating today, where this is for promotional materials and t-shirts. So here, you simply just click on the APP. You click on the APP, and then you say select APP. Here, then the system will then pick the information from that particular line, and then it will populate it on the system. Once populated, you can see again the description of the requirements and the procurement method. Again, the procurement method binds you within the system to say the direction it heads with as well. If you feel you have made a mistake, there's an option to go again and say select APP, and then you can address where you would have made the mistake. Here we have the applicable procurement rule. In your live system, there is Zimbabwe PPGPA Act rules. So those are the ones we simply select here. Again, take note of the class of procurement to say the type or the class that you select here also again determines the direction that the system will go through, because some methods or classes require scoring and also. So here you're going to say these are goods. Again, you see that all the methods are catered for. And then this is going to be a single envelope where we open everything. If it's a multi-stage opening, you then have to say with submission, multiple opening, and then you can proceed. So here we're going to say save. All right. So once we get to this item where it says item details, we are supposed to add all the items that we intend to procure. And also doing so at this particular stage means that you are also creating your price schedule in the process as well. So by doing this at this particular stage, you are also then preparing your price schedule. So we have to add all the items that we intend to buy. So in this example, we're saying we're going to buy t-shirts, right? As our part of our promotional material. So here we're going to say add items, and we're going to search. Again, the system is using the UNSPSC codes, the ones that we use to then populate our procurement plans. So if you want reference, you can simply search again on the Excel file that was provided, but on the system now, it's more granular as well, and it will show a number of items. So here, we're going to select this particular one because we're buying shirts. And we're going to say yes. We're going to add another item as well, which is again shirts, because we're buying different shirts for. So note you can add an item as many times on the system. Here we're going to add again once more. And we're going to save. One last one. And then we're going to save the item. So here, under the description, this is where we can then customize the description of the items that we're buying. So here, we're going to say maybe the first one, t-shirts. And we're just going to be the same description. So maybe these are men and these are ladies. And we're going to say maybe we're going to need a crew neck shirt. Again, men. And we then have ladies as well. And here, the quantity, maybe we need 100. And then on the ladies again, same. On this one, maybe we require 55. And here we might require 70. We then are supposed to select unit of measure that we are going to be using. For these, we quantify them with each. And then there's an aspect of the total estimated budget. So on the total estimated budget, we find it up here where we can then claim the budget that is marked under unused or just under. So here I've just my budget, and we're just going to paste the budget here. So that's the only way we can now proceed. So here we'll say save item details. Again, colleagues, if there are any questions, type them in the chat. I'll respond as soon as I am done with this particular stage, which we are now at the final stage. So here on, we spoke of the reference number, which we said there was a continuation of documents, right? On the justification document, you can scan a copy of the requisition that came to you, to your office. If it's offline for SAP, I'm sure there's another method that you can also use. So here you're supposed to attach that particular document that came with the request, not the standard bidding document. So we say choose file, and then we attach the particular document, which mine I have just attached just now. And then for comments, we're going to say for approval. Again, note this can be tailored to your requirements, but let's try to keep them professional. And then the last part of raising our request within the system will be to select the person who's going to do the approval. So here we'll say select approver. This particular system, note the coordinator holds the role to approve as well. Hence why when we were creating these accounts, we're requesting for HODs as well. Then we have the accounting officer. Then we also have anyone else who is appointed to be an approver within the system. So here I'll select myself. Again, note my rights are quite unique at the present moment. In your case, an approver would have to log in the system and then approve. So here we're going to say send for approval. All right. Once more, like I said, once you have sent for approval, this will pop up on your dashboard to say there is something that is requesting your approval. So I'll quickly navigate to that page. But for the person that would have created, the moment you get to this particular page of pending procurement request, you can also recall this particular request by clicking on select and say recall. So right now my account holds all the rights. That's why you can see all these three. But however, you can say recall, and then you'll be able to recall and edit where you need amendment on the request. And then for the approvers, we have the option to approve and the option to send it back to the user that created that particular request to say there are some corrections that you need to make, and then it will be sent to that particular user. So for now, I'll go back to the dashboard. Here, you can see that when an approver then logs in within the system, they have the option under pending task, say there is a procurement request that is pending for approval. Again, note they would have also received an email say there's something that requires your attention as well. So when they log in, you simply go and click here, and then you'll be able to see the request where we go back to the same page, and then we're going to say select. We want to view the request. So for approvers, avoid mistakes. Please also thoroughly check when something is sent for you, because it's not only approving within the system, it's verifying that the details are indeed correct, and such that we avoid instances where we say we have to take it back and you have to make amendments, or you have to publish an addendum of some sort because of this system glitch. So again, we have to just verify the information and the line that we took, and also the object code, the type, the method that we're going to use, the rules, which is Zimbabwe PPA rules, and the submission type. And also we get to see the items that we intend to buy, which we can get to see the list that is there. And then we have the attachment that will also be scanned and added to this particular request, which you can open and then view as well. So here we have seen our request. We are saying it's correct, and we now want to approve. So we have the option to approve, but we also have the option to send back. So on send back, we would want to send this particular request back, but with a comment to then alert the user who was creating it to say correct here, here, and here. And then the next option is to approve. Again, with a comment, let's try to put them fresh now. So here we're going to say approved. And then under approved, it will then pop up on our approved procurement requests list. So here you can now see all the requests that are approved within the system. And these are now available to use for tender. So for now, I'll ask if you have a question, please raise a hand, and then we can try to address it. Any questions? All right, we have one that is local in here, so maybe you can speak up.
Hello, Kundai.
Isi tantati Nkosana.
It's the one that's that actually is. So how do you navigate that?
All right. His question is to say on my APP, I had a method, and it's not the method that I want to use anymore, which right now in this particular scope of this training, it is not applying, but there are options to supplement on the system. So those are the ones you can employ. But right now with the scope of this training, we are mainly focusing on the template. So any questions on the procurement request? Or we can proceed.
Yes, yes, Kundai. Yes, Kundai.
All right. There's one question
Can you
which
hear
is
me?
saying what's the difference between single and multiple submission? I think this speaks to envelopes, the tender envelopes. Some tenders you do opening once, correct? And some tenders have multiple stages, is it? So that's how I would answer that particular question that is in the chat. Kulisi, you can go ahead.
Hello. Hello, Kundai. Hello.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Yes, on the 8 item tab there, what if you have something like more than 100 line items? You can spend the whole day trying to add those items. Isn't there a way where we can do it offline, then upload?
All right. If I got your question correctly, you're saying on the add items option and you have 100 line items, there are many ways of doing this within the system. But however, because the system is in its infancy and most of us have not yet grasped how to deal and make the templates within the system, we would advise that you add all the items that you intend to buy on that particular add item option. However, you could also address this particular challenge with the templates, which we'll then demonstrate later on.
Okay.
All right. There's a question to say, what if we had uploaded SBD on justification? Again, that one was a suggestion to say we need a continuation of records. If you have attached already, then and it has been approved and gone to tender, then currently we cannot reverse. But maybe going forward for continuation of records, try to link your offline documents to the online documents, because the option to attach the SBD will be available when you then are creating the tender, which is the next step that we'll then do in a few minutes. Kulisi, I can see your hand is still up. Any more questions, colleagues?
Thank you, Mr. Kondai. If I heard you correct, you said the reason why we are adding on all those items, for example, I've got 10 items that I need bidders to respond to. The reason why we put them in that item.
In the absence of questions, I'll then proceed. So earlier on, there was a question to say, I have documents that I want that are not available on the already provided list on the document templates. So that is the first step that I will then go through to show that, to say all coordinators that are within the EGP system have the ability to add any additional documents that we may require. If they're unique, again, note that the documents that the coordinators add within the system are only going to show or are available to you in your own particular organization. So maybe to say if it's PRAZ, if they add any additional documents, there will only be access to them. But the ones that were created by PRAZ will be available to each and every organization, which were the generic and the basic documents that we normally require. So we're going to go to menu for this particular step. So please take note for your coordinators so that you can advise them accordingly if they're not in the meeting. But if present, this is the step that we can employ in order for us to proceed. So we're going to go to menu under template master. We're going to say add documents. And here you can see that there's a list of documents. And we want to add an additional document, we simply go and say add document. So if someone could suggest in the chat which additional document we might add, that we might require. Maybe for me, I would say bid submission sheet. So here, once we have added this particular document, I'll come back again to demonstrate this particular document is now available to all the PE creators within your organization once it has been added here. So if you have any additional document that you require, you can always add that is unique to the procurement that you're doing. You can always add through the coordinator. So I don't know if the gentleman that I was asking earlier is answered.
Yeah.
Thank you,
I'm answered
Kunda.
from my
I
side.
think I'm answered. I'm answered. Thank you
I'm
so
also
much.
answered.
Again, if there are any questions, please type them in the chat. We are monitoring the chat as well. So now, again, we might not be able to see the effect of this, but we'll also re-demonstrate so that we can understand what I meant here. So now we want to say we have an approved procurement request and we want to now prepare the notice that we're going to publish for the suppliers. We're going to go to our menu and then we're going to go to tender where we say create tender. And you can see that the requests that I created earlier on is here. Again, take note of the status within the system to say if the status is available, then you'll be able to use this particular request. If it's in use, it's either a tender process has already been started by someone within your organization, or you've also published a notice that is there on this particular item. So here, we're going to say select, and we're going to say create tender. So note certain information has already been taken from the procurement request that we raised to say the method that we're going to use and the class or the procurement is going to be for goods. And then we have the heading. So now we have to give it a tender reference number. So here maybe I'll say PRAZ again. It should also link if your reference number was from our EPP was our tender number, then we can just simply enter particular number here. But if we had used different forms of reference number, then here is where you enter your tender reference number here. Again, the description, we have noted that some organizations were putting their technical specifications here. Please note here, it's just simply for you to describe what you are buying and just simply put the basic information. So here we're going to supply and deliver promotional material. So if we want to say additional, we're just going to say maybe t-shirts. So yeah, this is just description of the notice. And then you can also note that items that we are buying are already populated here. Say we're buying shirts, we're buying golf t-shirts and crew neck shirts. And then the notice publication by default it will be yes. The mode of submission is now online. The rule again, which will be Zimbabwe Act rules in the live. The budget. So here where it says pay total estimated costs, this is our budget, which the system will not display. Say our budget is 70,000. The system will not display this particular budget. And then we have the envelopes, which we said single submission, single opening. And then we also have this option which says cost of billing document, By virtue of the SBD being online, this becomes free. So this by default, it should be not required. And all right, I'm being asked to re-emphasize again, cost of bidding documents, once online, these are free. Unless if they come to purchase from your own end. However, if it's online, these are free. But then if they purchase the offline one, they won't be able to upload that online. Right? So again,
I think let me emphasize on that one. We recently have been getting issues where some PEs have been checking on the required, on the cost of bidding documents. And that creates a very difficult situation for us. And that has happened in cases where I think some PEs have been selling those documents, I mean, from your offices. And once you check that required option, what it then means is the bidders will be expected to pay that amount on the system into our account. So please, let's make sure that that option is not required. We are not selling any online, I mean, any electronic document. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Jombe, for that. And then we have the option which says allow participation. This particular option then details for domestic and international tenders. If it's an international tender, please ensure that you tick where it says international. And on bid security, if it's required, you note that the system will enter for two bid security amount. So here, again, take note, you can add this figure. The system is merely giving us a the total for particular stage is this much. So here, then you can edit, say maybe my bid security is $100 for international. If different, you then also then enter. And note the establishment fee is being generated based on the bid validity period, whether it's 30 days, 90 days, or 60 days. So here you can note that it changes as I proceed. So again, this has been configured. Here we say if bid security is required, you then enter the amount that is within your SB document, and then the validity period, you can then state again here whether it's 30 days. For international, normally it's 90, but for this particular notice, this is a domestic process, right? Because we're simplifying corporate use. So here again, the system will offer the suggestion. We've had instances where organizations don't edit this particular section, and then the bid bond would then be an exorbitant amount, maybe 20,000 or so. Again, the system is telling you the range to say, I'm sure we all know that bid security is any amount between 0 to 2% or 1.99 within the system, right? So here, we're going to say maybe our bid security is $100. And this particular bid is valid for 60 days. Again, take note that the system on the evaluation method will already adjust accordingly depending on the selection that you made on the class of procurement. And then also you can note the method as well that you are using. So here, you can see we cannot select the QBS and QCBS. We can only use the logos, right? So here, after selecting, we then have to now attach the bid document. So here we can select the file that we intend to attach. Here, then we proceed. After attaching the SBD here, this is where we're saying, say on the procurement request, you can attach any relevant documentation that supports that request. Then when you're now doing the tendering process, this is where you are required to attach the SPG on the system. Again, there should be communication of records between the offline and the online on the EGP. So once done, we are now here where the main objective of this particular meeting is at. Say, again, I'll ask, say, did we understand on the first step of the tendering process? All right, I can see someone that is asking to say what is QBS and QCBS. I'm sure these are procurement terms that we use on a regular basis. The guys here, but again, there are no wrong questions, right? We're going to say there's quality-based, quality cost-based, and there's low cost. These determine the evaluation that you're going to do. So just to answer that. But I'm sure the procurement colleagues that are logged on here can actually assist way better in terms of explaining what that actually means. So this is from an IT explanation. All right, so now we're at a particular stage where we need to pay much attention to say there are two forms of templates. One which you require a supplier to fill in, which is the option where you go where it says create template. By create template, you are requesting to say, this is the information I would like the supplier to fill in, and they'll be able to fill in this information online. Then the second option that says document template. This is when you require a supplier to upload something, or you want to provide a certain document to a supplier that will aid them in preparing their bid. So I'll repeat again, there's an instance where we want to create a template and we want a supplier to fill in the information. So they can do that under the option which we will use, which is create template. Then the second instance is where we want a supplier to provide maybe historical documents such as CR14, CR6, tax clearance, and the likes. You can then create a document template. Again, once more, granted that on the document template, there's an additional document that we might want that is not there, then we employ the exercise that I did before coming to this option. So here we're going to say the first part, we're going to say we're going to require the documents from a supplier. So here we're going to go to document template. So we're going to name it. And then we're going to save. So once you create a document, once you add a particular document, yeah. So here we're going to say add document. You can see that earlier on, I created a document that was termed submission sheet. It is now available here, but we'll again demonstrate to try and then what? Add an additional document. So you see where we're saying that the coordinator has within their right the ability to add any additional documents that you may require apart from those that were listed by PRAZ. So here normally we require a clearance, company profile, CR14, maybe NASA. Then we get the PRAZ certificate option. This again is optional, but within the system, a supplier cannot participate if they are not registered in the categories that we listed at the beginning on the PRA, where we said we're requiring for corporate gifts and corporate wear. So if a supplier is not registered, they will not be able to submit their bid on this particular node. And then we're going to say, these are what we require. Maybe we're going to need the bid submission sheet as well. So each that we have marked on, we're going to select on the action panel. And after selecting or clicking on the action panel, we're going to say load document. When we load, you see that the document type is marked supplier, and an option to upload the following documents will be available to the supplier to say you need to upload this certain document. So here we're saying maybe we have completed our eligibility criteria, say these were the documents that we require. However, we may want some additional information that we require the supplier to fill in. We're going to use the create template option, where we then say, we give it a name again. This is subject to the name that you give. Again, colleagues, if there are any questions, please type them in the chat. We are actively looking. So when you create a template, it will ask you to either choose a file or create it online. Again, you have the ability to create this particular template online on the system, or you can create this particular template in Excel, where you can then fill in the information, then upload the information onto the system. So here, I'll quickly switch my screen to an Excel file. That I have just created beforehand. What you can see here is just basic Excel skills that are required to then create, which is the most preferred method by organizations. Say you're just going to come in Excel, enter your first heading, which is item number. For me, where I am asking for this information. So here, this was for another particular example. So we're going to remove this particular one. And we may want to say a supplier has to confirm if they submitted a sample. I'm going to say again, note these can be tailored to how you want. This is for example purposes. So here I'm going to ask supplier to state the bid validity, state their payment terms, and state the delivery period, and also to state that they submitted a sample and indicate the dates that they submitted. So here, I'm going to save this particular template. Then I'm going to switch again to our main screen, where here, like I said earlier on, we have the option to create, which I'll just quickly demonstrate, where we're going to say maybe we have a number, 4 rows and 3 columns. Again, this is just a replica of Excel, where we can enter again the item number. And we're going to enter description. We're then going to ask for the supplier's response. So this again is the same process that we have where we can say state bid validity. And then here on the supplier's response, we leave it blank. So this again is another way you create these particular templates within the system itself, or you can choose to do it outside the system on an Excel file that you can then upload to the system. So here I'll just delete this particular one. And then we're going to say choose file. We're going to select the template that I was working on. We're going to load. Again, we confirm that this particular again, you can also adjust the column width. So here, you can see that this is the same items that we had on our Excel that we then filled in. Then important things to take note of. Then we were giving suppliers an SPD document, correct? To say they're going to fill in on that particular document. They may not change anything except only in their particular column that they are filling in their response. So the same applies. Any information that comes from an entity or organization of government has to be read only so that the supplier will not tamper with the information. So here we're going to go on this particular drop down where we'll mark it read only. So anything that comes from the entity has to be marked read only. So here again, we mark read only. However, on the supplier's response, there are certain mandatory items we have to tick. One which says mandatory. And the next one which says apply encryption. So please ensure that these two are ticked each and every point where a supplier is supposed to fill in their response. So here we're going to say save. And also, as I save, please don't rush if this page. First option is to say okay. Then the next option that says template has been saved successfully so that we avoid having templates because we did not complete the process, okay? So here, this is how I would prepare my eligibility. And this is the templates, the two forms of templates that are there. And these templates, the two that we have demonstrated, apply for both the eligibility, the technical, and the financial as well. So here, again, emphasize create template is used when we want a supplier to fill in certain information, which we then created this particular template where we ask the supplier to fill in to state the bid validity, state the payment terms, and state the delivery period. And then the document template is used when you want to request for specific documents from a supplier or you want to provide documents to a supplier. Are we still together and are there any questions? All right, what does the template index refer to? This is just numbering so that we can know that we're on item number 4 or number 3. This is just basic numbering on this particular, say, item is number 1, item number 2, item number 3, and item number 4. So this again, like I said, preparing this particular template is optional. You can either not add this particular and just say state bid validity and state payment terms. That is also possible. Again, these are being tailored to your needs. And then we have the option where we say you can request for documents from a supplier, which is what we have just done here. So when a supplier is preparing the response, they are not able to submit their response successfully if they don't attach these particular documents listed here. Next, we'll move on to our technical, where again, we're just going to show for demonstration's sake. Let's assume you have a BOQ that you need to attach. This again is for demonstration of templates and how we can maneuver through the system. So I'll just quickly draft one where if we have a BOQ, then we'll go back to our original one, which is for promotional gifts. So here we're going to say template because we want to provide the drawings or all the information that pertains to the BOQ over at this particular stage. So here we're going to say, I'm going to name it BOQ. And here, again, we can say add document. And here we have an option. We have two options even. So here I'm just going to select BOQ. Take note, this time I'm selecting it under buyer. The reason being, we are going to provide these particular documents that upload their response. So here, the difference, if we look under our technical, under upload documents, now we are required some, as opposed to the eligibility where we asked all the documents from the supplier, where it now says buyer, we then add to attach all the documents. So note this one particular document template accommodate the number of documents that you have. So for BOQs, let's say you have 12, you can always attach. So you do this by clicking on upload and you say choose file. And then I'm going to select this particular document. I can always add more on this same option. I can add another file and also take note of the files that are allowed to be uploaded on this particular stage. Here again, we can continue again by uploading another one. And for demonstration's sake. So here you can see that we have attached 4 documents, and then we're going to say close. If again we still want to add more, we can always go back on upload, select another file, add again. Then we're going to say close. So here, this we have done for the one side. We also are requiring a supplier to respond, right? Again, we can always then enter and select the one that says BOQ response. And then we just say load document. Now you can see that there's one which is going to be providing the documents, the supplier, such that when they're preparing the response, they're then able to access these particular documents. And then as they are also uploading, they have the ability to upload all the documents if necessary, or one of the documents or 2 or 3 under their response panel as well. All right. All right. Again, we're going to share the recording. Once we are done with this meeting is being recorded. For those that are lagging behind, please try to follow, but we are going to share this particular recording. And then I have a question in the chat which says, let's assume the tender is closed and supplier failed to submit historical. Again, note the system is only automating the act. It is not changing anything. However, on the system, like I said, if you have asked for the document here, the supplier cannot proceed to submit their bid without this particular document. So then that solves the issue as well. Say if you have asked all the suppliers to attach these particular documents, they will not be able to submit their bid. So here, this was for demonstration's sake, say how do we tackle those big tenders that have the BOQs. Now, to go back to the example that we were doing, we want to create a template and we're going to ask a supplier to fill in certain information. And in some instances, I've seen some may require, again, a technical data sheet, which we can always add as a document. So for now, let me maybe demonstrate. So here again, under document template, we can see where we're saying add document. There is no technical data sheet here. Again, this is the role of the coordinator, where we go to menu, and then under template master, we're going to say add document, and then add document. And we're going to save.
Kundai.
Once we have done this, this document will be available to your internal team in your own organization to be used on the system. So here we're going to go to menu, to tender. Now our tender is in draft because we are preparing it. And then we're going to the draft. We're going to select and say edit tender. Again, we'll start again from the first step where we see all our information and everything that we intend to buy. The bid security, everything we enter through there. And we're going to say save and continue. And then if we come back again to the option that says add document on our technical bid, we can now then go down and you can see that now the technical data sheet is available, and we're going to ask this from the supplier. We're going to load this particular document, so this will be a requirement as well that they need to upload. So this again addresses the issue to say if I don't see a document that I want, you can always make amendments, add the document that you want.
All right, I have a question there.
Now to proceed with our example, I'm going to use the create template so that we can create our specification for our t-shirts. I'm going to say
Hello?
create, and then once more, the same options that were presented earlier to say we have the option to create within the system, and we have the option to choose the file from our Excel. So here I'll just try open your template, Excel, and then let me quickly share my new screen. Right, so here we're going to have, we have to edit this particular item. So here we're going to say maybe items. The first one we had off shirts, right? In our particular example, I'm going to remove this particular one. We have golf shirts. First one was men. Again, basic Excel. And then we have men. And then we had crew neck. Then we have the option to then also, here we're assuming our tender doesn't have lots, so we're just going to the item number. So this is the first example that I would do in Excel. Then I'll proceed to another one. We have item number. Right. Then we then are supposed to enter our specification. Here again, it is subject to say you want to enter all the specifications in one line, or you want to enter different lines. So here we're going to take maybe ladies cut. This is all depending on how we then want to define our specifications. This I'll leave it to you because I assume that you guys are the pros within this one. So yeah, this is one way of defining the specifications. However, if you want to split, you can always insert a row. I'm going to insert 2 rows here where I can take this particular item, say my specifications are starting. So this row, the supplier is not going to fill in. However, they're going to fill in against these 2. So for demonstration, I'll first upload this particular item. And let me remove load specification here. Again, this is also how you can tackle loads within the system. And I'm seeing a question which says, what if the supplier has various options that they have in stock? Where can that be requested? Again, this template can be tailored to your needs. So if you need to add the column to say you have other options, you can always add the column for other options where they can specify as well. That is entirely up to you. Again, templates are within your control. So yeah, this is how we're going to upload this particular one for this first example. I'm going to switch to my screen on the PGP. Yeah, we can see that we have the option again, choose a file, where we're going to say choose file. And our technical template that we've just saved, we're going to upload. I'm sure we can all confirm that this is the same item that we had. Again, you can always increase the response column for the supplier so they can fill in with joy as well. So yeah, we said first, any item that is coming from a procuring entity must be marked read only. So that's the very first step we need to do in the templates. So here we're going to say read only. Read only. And then anything that requires a supplier to fill in, we're going to say apply encryption and mandatory. However, with what we have done to describe our specification for the first offset, we're going to then say on the drop down on the row, we're going to set this row as read only, as the supplier is going to fill in starting from this point for this specification. However, for the ones that are within one line, the supplier simply has to fill in this particular block and they'll be done. Again, please ensure that you are asking questions where necessary within. I think I have already answered to the one that says, what if the supplier has various options? Where can that be requested? Again, we said adding a column, you can always add here, say insert column on the right. And you can always ask for the other options. You can always do that within the system. Again, these templates are within your control. So here I can remove, for my particular example, I'm going to go as is. So here you then save the template. Okay. Also, again, ensure that here apply encryption and mandate are marked within the system. Once more, we said we also happen to have instances where we have different lots. We can also tackle them in the same manner. Here we're just going to change the description of my headings mainly. Again, this is within your control. So here we're going to say, switch to my Excel screen. And this is now going to be lot maybe 1, where we have both sheds. And this sub items, where we're going to have both sheds for men. And here we're going to say ladies. And then this, then we're now going to maybe our lot 2, which was for crew neck shirts. And then again, we're going to have here, we're not going to have anything. And then we're going to enter. So here we have ladies. Then we have men. And here we have nothing. Again, this then becomes specification, where we then are going to enter where we said and then breathable, I don't know. So here, this just your specification. So this depends on how you want to define the specification. And here we have the ladies, where we can take again. And then for demonstration again of how you can do your specs, I'm going to insert again 2 columns. We're going to say cotton. And I'm going to put it here. And we copied the same requirements and we're going to put them here as well. Say maybe these are our specifications. So this is now the second way of dealing with your loads. And then we're going to require the supplier response. Again, note, this can be done in many ways, and this is within your control. These are various examples that you can then use within the system. So here I'll save my template as is. And then on this first one that we had uploaded, I'm just simply going to save and I'm going to leave this one there. And this training session is centered on the templates. So here I'll then create another template. I'll save it as technical specification on lots. Again, let me switch my screen. I'll just go back. So here I came and I said create template once more for demonstration. And then I named the technical specification on lots. So here I'm going to say select and edit template. I am then going to choose the file that I'm going to upload. So here I'll choose a file. and then go on technical template. And then note that all the information has been imported within the system. Again, the first step is to mark all the rows, any information coming from us. Here we have a blank option, so we can remove this particular row. And then here we have read only. And then here again, we're going to mark it read only. Here again, read only. Then suppliers response, again, we're going to say apply encryption. And this is mandatory. So here we're saying supplier is not going to fill in anything on the first particular item, which is the food, the lot name, basically, which has coefficients. Then we do have the sub items, which we said you can either put the specification in one row, and then the supplier will fill in the response. And then we have the option again for coefficients, they'll fill in here. Then we are now at our second lot. So here we're going to set this row as read only. And again, we then decided to break down the specification for this particular one. And we're going to say set row as read only here. So supplier starts to fill in over here at this particular point. So here, again, same process. Set row as read only, so that supplier starts to fill in on the specifications that we want them to fill in. So again, I'll then open the floor for questions. But on the chart, I can see that can you apply read only option on a single cell, say D8 only? Unfortunately, no. It's either row or column based. Any questions, please feel free to raise the hand. Once more, colleagues, is it clear that we can move on?
I have a question. Can you hear me? Hello?
Any questions?
Yes, I have a question.
No questions, it's either we understood or we didn't understand.
No, there's a lady with a
So
question.
here again, the recording we're going to share once
Hello,
more.
can you hear me?
Any questions?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I'm not sure if Kunda, you are hearing her.
All right, can I just ask?
Maybe just shoot, yeah.
All right, let's suppose that a supplier has various options that they want to give us. I'll give an example that we want to buy a 30-ton truck, and the supplier wants to give us, maybe the first one is a Isuzu, the second one being a Benz, the third one, maybe I don't know the other one. How now do we provide for the supplier to give us the options that they have in stock?
Sorry, could you kindly repeat the question? There was a disturbance.
All right, I was saying, what if the supplier has various options that they are prepared to give us? I'll give an example. It's unfortunate I can't relate it to the golf t-shirt.
You're
We
on
want
mute,
to buy.
sir.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I was saying the supplier wants to supply a vehicle, a 30-ton truck, and they've got 3 options that they are offering us. What can we do as a procuring entity so that we provide for the supplier to have options where they provide us with the options?
Again, like I said, these templates are within your control. How you want to tailor them, it's up to you. You can actually request for that information from the supplier. So there is no limit within the system.
All right. So maybe it means we will go to the technical specification. Then maybe we will say, or maybe option 1.
You can
And
even
they
ask for the
upload.
catalog as well. That
Yes,
is
yes.
also provided within the system. So you can either ask it as a document or you can create a template just as we did here. So the options are quite many and are available to you.
All right. It's okay. Thanks.
All right, sir. Any more questions? Burning questions pertaining to templates, or we proceed? All right. In the absence of questions, if you have any questions, please ask in the chat as well. So here I'm going to say back. Again, we have said on eligibility, we can ask them to fill in by using the create template option. We can ask for documents by using the document template, or we can provide documents using the document template. So here you can see that we have the documents that we said, for example, we are going to want to provide to the supplier, and the supplier is supposed to then provide us with the response. Again, the catalog options, you can always add if necessary, or you can always add. Again, if you take note on the technical specification on the option for create template, you are not limited to creating one. So you can create as many templates as you want so that they can cater for what you are requiring. Then we want to then save and continue where we go the last of templates. And here you can note that there is already a template that came through within the system, where we're simply just going to select and edit template. Take note, this is generated from our procurement request, where we our description. So here we just want to edit, say this tender is not lots based. So here we're going to say name. But again, we then demonstrated 2 different examples, one which has lots and one which doesn't have lots. So here we're going to say lot name. And then we're going to have the description, quantity, again, unit price within the system because our APP is in USD. We're going to say and here we would have finished. So here you say the price be inclusive of VAT. Or you can say excluding VAT. This again is an option that is available to you within the system. However, we can always then add a column, say we have unit price here, which is in USD. Because certain suppliers that we have don't have VAT. Some are VAT registered, some are not. So here we're going to say insert column. First, the system won't allow us. So we're going to say on the total rate, we're going to remove the option that says apply formula. And then we're going to insert the column to the right. We're saying indicate So here we're going to say indicate total unit VAT if allow me to make a correction. If you don't charge VAT, you can enter 0 here. So now we want to then make a formula for this particular instance. I hope we're still together. We're going to say apply formula, where the system will then display this particular option, where you say here, we're going to say quantity multiplied by unit price. Then I'm going to say plus the VAT. However, you can see that the system will say, would you like to apply numeric option on the formula? Which you can say, okay, and then it will then apply. So here, we have now applied our formula. Again, we can test how this is working. So maybe we have something that is $10 and it has a VAT maybe of $2.50. We would then get this amount. So the unit price is $10, and then with VAT, it's going to be this much amount with the total VAT for this particular unit. And here, for those that are not registered, maybe they will just enter 0 here, and amount will be calculated accordingly. Are we together on this particular template? Any questions? Please feel free to raise a hand or type in the chat. Then you can enter another figure, and maybe here it's $1 or 0.5. We can always test to say the total VAT for the 55 items against the unit price. They enter the total here, and then you'll be able to have the supplier's input. Colleagues online, are we together? So here, once more, on unit price, we can see that there is apply encryption and there's apply numeric format, and it is also marked mandatory, such that a supplier won't skip any particular column. Here again, we need to also check, say it's mandatory. And here, you can get the total by using the apply formula option. Then once more, a recording will be available for you to follow after this presentation. And then we're going to say our template here is done. Any questions on this particular template?
Hi, Mr. Konde.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm the one who previously asked about downloading that financial proposal. My other question is that, is there any other option where we can ask the bidders to submit or to attach their financial proposal over and above this template that we have created for them to fill in?
Again, this is again something you can do within the documents template, where you can create the document and then you can request it from the suppliers.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm just going to save this particular template and we're going to go back. Again, this one is system generated, hence we cannot remove it because this is what we use for the comparative schedule within the system. However, if you want to create your own, you can always go to create template once more and create the requirements. So in terms of your question, you can go on document template and create the document that you want, and then you request for the document. So once more, you quickly type the name of the document that you'd want to request in the chat so that I can copy and then create that document. So here we go to our menu once more. Under template master, we say add documents. We can then say with a term. I'm seeing in the chat, it's not yet there, so yeah, I'm going to say financial sheet, and then I'll go back to my menu under tender, and then I'm going to draft tenders and say edit tender, where again we see all the information that we have inputted. So we're going to save and continue. Again, save and continue. And then here on the financial is where I then am going to say document template. And then I'm going to save, say yes. And here, maybe I would then add the documents which we have just added and say we're requesting this from a supplier. And then this document will be requested from the supplier as well. So again, note there are so many ways of maneuvering through the system on templates because it's within your control and you can request for as much information as you want within the system as well. So here, once we are done with this particular stage, this then concludes this particular section, but we are going to need to publish this particular notice. So I'll then just proceed with that process. But however, are there any questions at the moment? Then there is one from Mr. Muguse to say column header cannot be empty. What do I do? If you notice that each column has a heading, if you have an empty heading, the system will not allow you to save. So you need to input something on your heading so that the system will save. Any questions, team online? All right, if there are no questions, I'm just going to proceed to publish this particular notice. So here I'll say save and continue. Here it's just an instance of creating the team that is going to do the opening. So here I'm going to say create .t, where we have finance or audit on your organizational structure. And then you have to select the particular person that is going to do this particular opening. Again, note my users within the system have different roles. So within your organization, there will be a populated list from the finance as well. So here, I'll then save. Again, a bid opener, you select so note you can have two bid openers in case one is not present, you can always select another one. So here you have to do it once. So here I'm selecting myself and another user, and then I can save. So here you can see we have two users right there. And again, on the bid members, we can always select as many members as we want because the system will require for 3 members, one from each role that is currently being described on the system. So here I added 2 as well. Similarly, you can also do that the finance as well, where you can then save these particular, add to as well here. So here we're going to name our committee. And then we're going to save. So here you can see the team that is going to handle this particular opening for this particular tender. And then we're just going to save and continue. And then the last part would be for the tender schedule, where this is a competitive one, where it runs for 20 days within the system. Again, I'm assuming this is all knowledge that you all have. So yeah, the tender publishing, like start date, this is when you want the tender to fly. So here we're working on Thursday. The Gazette comes out tomorrow, and we're saying maybe our tender is coming out tomorrow, so would indicate the date to 5 at maybe 10 a.m. We're hoping that the Gazette is out at that particular time. So we can do that. So meaning to say you can work on Monday for a tender that is going to publish on its own on Friday. So the date that you set here, meaning to say you would have concluded all your processes between Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. You have sent your approver and they have approved tender on Friday at 10 a.m. will automatically self-publish on its own. So you can submit beforehand and have it self-published on its own at that particular time. So for hours, I'm just going to pick the day. And note, the approver cannot approve if the time stated has already passed. Like say right now it's 12:11 and they log in the system after we have sent this notice to them to say it's going to publish at 12:10. It will not publish, or it will not allow them to publish this particular notice. So here I'll simply put a time that is on where we are now, which is around 12, and then I'll say 12:30 will be done with this particular notice. So here I'll say done. Again, the addendum, this again is determined on your own. Say we want to then delete or make an addendum on the system this particular date. So here first, I'll set my deadline. For me, my deadline is going to be sometime today at 4 p.m. as we have another training in the afternoon for the suppliers. So yeah, my addendum time, I'll probably put today around 3 p.m. or 3:59, just in case there's something I may need to make a correction. Again, note that the option to make an addendum would be based on the date that you said here. Then there's request for clarification. You then select the time period when you would prefer to end clarification such that the option will not be available after that stipulated time. The suppliers, again, clarifications are coming through the system. I'll say mine will not be available at maybe 2 p.m. 30. And here we're going to say done. And then also take note on the bid opening start date and time, such that we don't have instances where you set a future date that's so far off to say you wanted to then open the tender today on the 4th of July. You then have the tender open at 20 July. We've had instances where one entity set their opening time a month ahead, and they were not able to open the notice once it was closed. So please ensure that this is a date that is almost similar to your closing or on the closing. So mine is today. We said my notice closes on 3 p.m. I'm going to initiate the opening at 10 past 3 today. Again, we said our tender closes at 4 p.m. So here, that is why I need to make an amendment of 4:10 p.m. So we're going to have the tender close at 4 p.m. in this particular example. And then the opening is going to start at 10 past. Only at 10 past is when the option will be available for you to then open the notice. Again, on the comment, you have to state, again, please ensure that they're professional. And we're going to have to select an approver within the system. Here in this instance, we see the coordinator, the approver, and the account officer. So here I'm going to select myself. And I'm going to send for approval. Again, as an approver, you would have received an email saying there's something that requires your attention. And for those that created the notice, you able again, same option to recall and make amendments is available before the approver has started working on it. You can always make amendments and then send it to the approver. However, demonstrate how the approver then logs in within the system, we just go back to the EGP. And we can see on our dashboard for pending tasks, now we have the tender that is pending for approval. We're going to click and open. And we're going to go, it says tender notice for approval. Again, note for approval, it's not merely clicking once more and saying up and publish. You need to verify such that mistakes are not there, because they cause us delays within the procurement cycle as well. So here we're going to say view template. We're going to check whether everything is marked correctly. We're saying apply encryption. Here we can see that we cannot edit, so this is read only. And we can see these are the documents that we're requiring. Again, we can always be referring to SBDT to say we put all the documents that we're requiring here. And then on the technical specifications, you can view again the template. Again, ensure that all columns are okay and are marked correctly. And then technical specification lots. We are also checking to see, did we make sure that enables the supplier to fill successfully their bid. Again, here we can then proceed. We are seeing the queues that we said in our example. If we are providing these queues, we can always provide them to the supplier. You can open to verify that there is no repetition of the bid. We have any additionals and the response column that we have. Then we have the price bids that we have made amendments. And then we also asked for a certain document as per the request. And then we have the bid opening members that are there. We have the SBD itself, we can access it here. We have the publishing time again notes. Right now it's 18 past, so meaning to say I still have enough time to up so that this particular notice will self-publish at 12:30. So here I'm going to say approved. Again, you note that there's a send back option. You can always send it back if you have noted that there are corrections that need to be made on the particular notice as the approver. If there are no corrections, again on corrections, on this comment that I typed here to say approved, you can always describe all the corrections that need to be made within the particular my sake, I'm going to say approve and publish. Again, with this, we would have concluded the process of uploading a notice and also the templates that need to be created and the various forms of templates we can create within the system. So here I'll then ask if there are any questions. Please feel free to come through. Just raise a hand and we can have a conversation. And then in the chat, they're saying a situation where a member has been added and they are not appearing. Where a member has been added, they're not appearing on the list. NB, these members were added by the coordinator. When it's time to add them to the opening team, you won't see them. Again, this is quite a peculiar question. The access level that the person will have determines where they appear as well. So that's one option. And then are there any implications if we fail to open the bids at the indicated time online? I'll have Mr. Jombe answer this one in a minute. I'll repeat, are there any implications if we fail to open the bids at the indicated time online? And there's another one from Stole to say, are people in the BOT supposed to be the ones evaluating the bids since they're the only ones that have access to the bid documents in the system? Again, take note, the EGP is being implemented in phases and currently we are almost done and we're going to be testing our second phase, which is going to bring on about the evaluation of bids online on the system and the awarding and the contract management. So for now, the system is ending at opening, where you're supposed to record the opening result. After that, you then download all the documents. And then once you download the documents, you avail them to the evaluation team that is going to do the evaluation for that particular procurement. And then in the system, is there any way the system can remind us of dates and time of opening the bids? Okay, that is an additional feature that may be required, but we'll take note and we'll then deliberate. And then there is a question from Janaka to say, is it possible to delete a procurement request after it has been approved by the coordinator? Yes, the facility is there. You simply go to the approved procurement request and say select and then cancel. Any more questions?
Mr. Kundai.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you for the good explanation. My question is it possible for the approver to approve the tender, let's say the day today and the publishing day will be tomorrow?
Yes,
Can he just approve today? Yeah.
That is exactly what we're saying on the tender publishing date. You can set a date for Friday on a Monday and approve such that on Friday, it will automatically publish at the time that you set.
Not a problem. I think my network had failed me there. Then my other question, I've noticed that the process flow from the procurement request up to the tender approval, there are only 3 people involved there, if I'm not mistaken. So does it necessarily mean to say that the coordinator is the one who is supposed to be creating this tender so that both the coordinator and the approver, which in this case might be the accounting officer, will be able to be in the picture of what exactly is going on? Because the coordinator, if the coordinator, let's say for example, if the creator does the tender and the coordinator approves, it automatically get published without the accounting officer not seeing or seeing the tender. So does it necessarily mean to say that the coordinator is the one who's supposed to be doing all these tenders so that from him
it goes to the accounting officer.
All right. If I get you correctly to say the accounting officer can also delegate in terms of publishing of this particular notice to say maybe the HOD. However, the accounting officer must be in the know of what is actually going on in the process.
Yeah, I understand that, Mr. Kunde, but my question is, I remember there are some PEs that have got a lot of tenders to be created and the like. So
Yes.
if we are to leave that function wholly to the coordinator, I think you get he or she will get overwhelmed by the tenders. Because if he doesn't do the tenders, then obviously, for example, if you have to give that permission to the creator, then he has to approve. Then we are leaving the accounting officer out of the loop.
All right.
So yes.
Here's how I will best explain it. Within the system, there are designations, one being accounting officer, one being PE creator, one being PE approver. The coordinator is sort of a super user within the system. So they are responsible for defining your company or organization structure within the EGP system, meaning to say we have maybe 5 people that do creation of tenders. You can always add those 5. If you have 20, you can add the 20 under the PE creator designation. I'll quickly just hover to it. Under my organization, then sub-user management. Here, you can see under my PE creator, I only have 2. But the ability to add more users is available. Same as the PE approver, same on your finance, but we only have 1 accounting officer and we only have 1 coordinator as well within the system. So if you are 40 creators working on various tenders, you can add. If there are also multiple approvers appointed by the CEO, this is now an internal matter where you then say, because this system requires the approver to verify the information there, I'm sure the CEO can have a printout copy of the SPD that you are attaching on the system as well. The same processes that have been going through are not being changed. It's mainly online now on the system. So nothing has much changed on this system.
Okay.
I hope I answered you.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Kundai. But my question actually, remember when we said that the PE coordinator should supposed to be the PM you had, if I get you correct from the first training that you yes. So the PM you had obviously is supposed to be saying what's happening from the purchase requisition creation, the tender creation, before the accounting officer or the publisher, the approver, the final approver approves the whole process. So if we are to say, for example, we give that facility to the creators to do the tenders, right? And then the PE coordinator has to have a check of those tenders. So by him checking or by him approving, automatically by the nature of the process flow, it then gets to be published without the accounting officer also having access to that tender.
All right. Again, once more, the accounting officer, once with an account within the system, it can be approved. Also, if you noticed on the functions that I had as I was preparing the notice, there's an ability to say the one who is creating can send to you, and then you can send it back to them and say send to the accounting officer. That's also available within the system.
Okay.
So then that addresses the issue of the hierarchy as well.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So I get you now, because my question is now answered, because the whole, I mean, everyone in the system, in the process flow, has to have access before the tender is published. The PE coordinator also has to check. The accounting officer also has to know the things that are being published. So yeah, you've answered
Maybe
my question.
My follow-up question is to say, when you were doing the offline process, how were you proceeding with it?
The offline thing, what we used to do is there was a person who does the generation of the bid document, right? And maybe seeing to it that the notice are published, put in the government gazette. Then that bid document that the creator would have generated comes to the PE coordinator, who is the PMU head, then verifies and checks if everything there has been incorporated, everything, the wording and the like. Then before that, we forwarded that to the accounting office to also have a look on the bid document and have an understanding of the things that we are going to publish. Then it gives a final say authorized by putting a signature there. That was the process flow.
Again, this process can still be happening because, again, remember on the system, we are attaching that SBD document, right?
Yes, correct.
Yes. So again, you can continue with your processes as is and then just publish on the system. Again, the accounting officer will still be in the know that you are publishing a notice. Because this notice is sort of an advert, just like in the Gazette as well. However, the only difference is that suppliers are now participating online on the system.
Thank you very much, Mr. Konda. I think I'm answered. I'm answered on that one.
All right.
Yes.
Then with facing again, let's try stick to the scope. And then for those that have issues, you can send an email to ictsupport@praz.org.zw. I'm seeing one from Enoch. Kindly send us a mail. And we then also attach your phone number there so that we can assist you there. So it's ictsupport@praz.org.zw. And then let's say bid opening team members are absent after a tender is closed. Again, we have the functionality to change before. So there's now need to do a follow-up to say, I selected these members, are they available? This is before. After closing, you won't be able to manipulate the team to say I am the team members. But before closing, you can always check maybe 30 minutes before, are you available? Are you available? And again, this availability depends because this opening is now online as well to say any member can log in from wherever they are as long as they have internet connection. And then they can assist you in doing the opening. Again, the one from Pauline is the issue that we were addressing just before. Any more questions, colleagues? Again, we said you can have the option to send it back to the creator. However, you don't have the ability to forward it to the accounting officer. So you can send it back to the creator to send to the accounting officer. I'll have someone type the email in the chat once more. If no further questions, thank you, colleagues. I'll hand you over to Mr. Jombe for now to then conclude the training.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Kundai. I think it was a great presentation. There was a question that was asked earlier about whether once the tender closes, the PE would be able to download the financial template. The answer is yes. There is an export to Excel option that is available when the tender closes, where you can export the financial document to Excel for your evaluation. I hope the member who asked that question is still in the meeting.
Yes, I am Mr. Jombe. Can you please come again? I think I missed something. Hi, Mr. Jombe, can you hear me?
So this is the, hope you are seeing my screen.
Yes.
So this is the functionality for you to export the financial details to an Excel worksheet so that you can do your evaluation offline. I thought I should share with this before we conclude the meeting, the training. Otherwise, if there are no further questions, this leaves me to thank you for attending this important conversation. And also thanks to great presentations from our presenters, starting from the opening remarks, the template script, as well as the demo from the last presenter. I think those were, great presentations. Now, let me also say it is us who make this system work. Let's not wait for maybe another training platform like this one to raise issues if we have issues with the system. I think our office is open for any contributions or issues that you may be seeing on the system that you think may need improvement or to be reworked from the system perspective. So let's be sharing notes, let's be sharing issues that you feel needs to be improved on. Otherwise, I would like to thank you for being with us, for listening, and the comments that have been raised. We will be having more of these discussions whenever we feel there is need for discussions. But if you also feel that there are issues that you think need to be addressed, maybe from a PE perspective or a PE, as a PE, we are also open for you to approach us. We can arrange for a one-on-one meeting and clarify such issues. Otherwise, thank you very much. We meet again in future trainings. Thank you.
Thank you very much.